Steve Bennett, who's determined to keep a low profile if he possibly can, and let the football of the two teams do the talking. So Alex Ferguson has been concentrating this week on making sure that there's no complacency about United, making sure there's no difference, he says, in desire between the two teams. The mind games have been going on all week, of course. Mourinho demanding the match be played in the right spirit. The thinly veiled hint about Ronaldo's alleged diving, with Sir Alec, I'm sure, thinking black pots and kettles, considering one or two in the Chelsea squad. It is United then to kick off, attacking the goal to our left, and here's Gabriel Hensey. Something of a surprise inclusion at the expense of Evra, who had been expected to start in that left-back position. Nemanja Vidic, the first Serb to play in an FA Cup final, and very much a cult figure with the United fans for the way that he's been performing this season. And a few weeks ago it seemed unlikely that he would be in this final, having suffered a broken collarbone, but he's come back very quickly and very well too.
Well, the interesting thing to start off with in this first couple of minutes here, that Carrick and Scholes have gone to play in the middle of the field. Fletcher has gone out on the right-hand side, Ronaldo on the left-hand side, and Rooney and Giggs. Giggs is playing off Rooney, which obviously he's done a lot this season, but that certainly is the starting formation, which is different to what we've been informed.
And I would think the message to Ronaldo is get at Ferreira. That, I would think, is the game plan for Sir Alec Ferguson. You'll feel there might just be a weakness there. Ronaldo, of course, has been at times this season simply unplayable. Michael Essien, the Ghanaian, forced into emergency duty as a central defender again. In the absence of Carvalho, here's John Terry, Chelsea's talismanic captain. Now Wayne Bridge. I think it's fair to say he's in on merit for this game. Ashley Cole isn't fully fit, struggling with an ankle problem, but all the same, Bridge, in his absence recently, has played very well, and I think forced his way into Mourinho's plans. And certainly they will be looking, Chelsea, to have him motoring down that left side whenever possible, Wayne Bridge. Decent ball tossed in towards Drogba, and there is the first aerial threat from the giant Ivorian. 32 goals this season. And of course the Golden Boot winner in the Premiership with his 20 in the top flight.
Well, it's a good crossing from Wayne Bridge there, and we know how dangerous Drogba can be in the air. But Hensey just did enough, just got his body underneath him, which made him force the ball over the top of the bar. But certainly Drogba, if they get good quality balls into the box from those wide areas, he can be a problem.
Here's McAleary, who had that protective role just in front of the back players for Chelsea. Here's Paul Scholes. What a season he has had for the Red Devils. Hoping now for a fourth FA Cup winners' medal. Here is Ferreira. Now Mikel, I'm not quite sure how fit he is. He limped off with a hamstring problem in the final Premiership game against Everton last weekend. But Jose Mourinho prepared to risk it.
I don't think it could have been too bad, because if it was a real hamstring problem, there is no way in this world he'd be on the pitch today.
Well, he wasn't playing last weekend, according to Mourinho, but a little bit of mind games going on there.
Well, of course, he's talked all week, hasn't he, about
who's going to play, who isn't.
Putting youngsters on the bench and putting the goalkeeper up front and all that sort of thing.
He had you playing at one stage.
Well, no, he was never quite that desperate, but...
Ryan Giggs, who has just won his 9th Premiership title. And his fantastic career far from over yet. Led off by Rooney, who's never scored against Chelsea. Ryan Giggs. And he's forced the corner. Off Bridge. As both teams look to ease their way into this final. The top two in the land in conflict at the new Wembley. Such an appetising prospect. Giggs with the corner. Carrick had got to the near post. Repelled by Lampard. But here's Giggs again. United with plenty of reinforcements in the box. Giggs, whose adaptability has been so crucial to United this season in their resurgence. Looking now for a fourth league and cup double. Or will they be denied by Chelsea? The Carling Cup holders, desperate to finish their season on a high. Vidic, away from Drogba, who's also not scored against United for all his success, his prolific finishing over the past campaign. Still seeking his first against the team in red. Claude Makelele. Here is Mikel, the young Nigerian. Now Wright Phillips. Starting on the right. Although now he's drifted over towards the other flank with Cole on this side. Mikel. Lampard. Such a key man in midfield, but outmanoeuvred then by Scholes and Giggs. Here's Darren Fletcher. Brown up in support. Gary Neville standing in that right back role. Now Carrick. Here's Hetze. And asking just for too much, even of Ronaldo, who has been, Ray Clement, simply sensational this season.
He has, yes, and I think that may be the reason that certainly Mourinho came off the bench just before Giggs took that corner a couple of minutes ago, changed the two wide players over. He's seen Ronaldo out on this side, maybe thinks that Joe Cole can maybe do a better job helping Ferrara than Sean Wright-Phillips will do. But so far, Ronaldo's not got in the game. We know he will, but at this moment, they've managed to keep him quiet.
There is Paulo Ferreira with a throw then for Chelsea. Mikel immediately closed down by Scholes, who has been so effervescent in the midfield for Manchester United this season. Like having a new player, says his manager. Joe Cole has missed so much of the campaign through injury. Awkward ball tossed in towards Wright-Phillips. Sharp for handball. Nothing wrong though in Steve Bennett's eyes. Fletcher hoisting it up towards Rooney. And Terry was too strong for him. That is going to be a fascinating battle between those two.
Well, it's a delightful ball from Joe Cole to the far post there. And all of a sudden, Wes Brown's in on Drogba. Drogba gives him a little shove. Wes Brown can't clear it. And unfortunately, it drops on Sean Wright-Phillips' left foot rather than his right, and rather slaps at it and doesn't make good contact. If that had been on his right foot, it was a real opportunity. It was an opportunity anyway, but he should have done better with it.
He's been watching videos of the 1990 FA Cup final, the first success, of course, for United for Sir Alex Ferguson against Crystal Palace, when his stepdad, Ian Wright, came off the bench to score twice in the first game, that 3-3 draw. And it was United who went on to win the replay. Essien's header. Here's Mikel. Sean Wright-Phillips has been watching videos of that game for inspiration, but didn't find enough in front of goal with that chance early on here. Whitebridge. Now then to Essien, the man Mourinho calls the train. He covers so much ground and keeps running all day long. Maybe not a London train, but a train anyway. Here's John Terry. Now then to Lampard. They say he hasn't had such a good season by his high standards. Lampard, he's still scored 21 times. And almost single-handedly dragged them back into the quarter-final game, I remember, against Tottenham, when they came from behind 3-1 down at home. He remains a major influence, with a big part to play this afternoon. So is this young man, Cristiano Ronaldo. They can boo him all they like, it makes absolutely no difference to him. Paul Scholes, looking for Fletcher. Got his cross in well too, but no real height in there for United. Falls in for Scholes, not one of his better efforts.
Well, we've seen him do that before, though. He's more than prepared to have a go on the volley from that sort of distance, and we've seen over the seasons he scored one or two very, very spectacular goals. But on that occasion, not to be, but still, everybody feeling each other out. the best chance so far has still been Shaun Wright-Phillips 2 minutes ago.
Nip and tuck so far. But I'm sure it's fair to say, as the Football Association's dream final in this magnificent new stadium, built at a cost of more than £750 million.
And that was quite a nasty tackle by Joe Cole. Two-footed, slid in from the side. And I think, Mr. Bennett is being very sensible at this moment in time. Under normal circumstances, that would certainly have been a yellow card. But because it's so early in the game, I don't think he wants to put himself under pressure that one more bad tackle from Joe Cole, he might have to send somebody off. So
I don't think he wants to set the tone for that, does he?
No, I think he's been sensible and saying, look, that was a bad tackle, and normally that would be a yellow card. But just calm yourself down, because that really has been the first bad tackle of the game.
A game that can be such a marvellous advertisement for English football between these two giants of the English game. The clearance was from Vidic. I think he'd been written off for the season, really, when he sustained that broken collarbone at the end of March. Came back very quickly.
It's a massive boost to United, him getting back.
Oh,
because
he's been terrific, isn't he?
He has been outstanding this year for them, and him and Ferdinand have worked extremely well. And when one of them, particularly Vidic, when he's not playing, you can see there's a weakness at the centre of the defence there. And not only has he done well defensively, he's scored one or two very vital goals from set plays.
Shades of Bruce and Pallister with those two together. And they haven't really had that kind of combination since they packed up playing for United. Found here by Hetze on Wright-Phillips, who's got some pace about him, but a really aggressive, combative defender, Gabriel Hetze. Maybe that's why he's been included here at the expense of Evra, who's, I think, a better player going forward. But Hetze has that raw-boned aggression, rather like Vidic in the middle. Here's Lampard now, hoping to stretch them again here. Drogba went to the near post. Didn't reach him, though, the African Player of the Year. Chelsea's Player of the Year, too. Although the fans at Stamford Bridge have voted for Michael Essien. Carrick almost short on that pass then. I don't think Ferdinand would have thanked him for that one. Here's Scholes now. Always so thoughtful with his distribution. Likewise, Michael Carrick. He really has made outstanding progress this season, a much better play, he says himself, since going to Old Trafford, where he's learning so much from those around him. The likes of Scholes and Giggs.
And I think the other thing that Michael's learnt as well is that he's playing the team that needs to win every single week, and he has to have consistency. And possibly when he was at West Ham before, an excellent player he was, but maybe not the most consistent. But this year we've seen more and more consistency from him.
So much so that they haven't missed Roy Keane as much as they would have feared. That's a measure of how well he's been playing. And how well he has slotted into that role in central midfield. Michael Essien, who normally plays there, certainly that's his best position, and I think they really miss him in the battle of the midfield, but they need him at the heart of the defence at the moment without Carvalho. Lampard trying to slip it on to Joe Cole, who's still striving for match fitness, really, having been out so long himself for much of the season. Now the tackles are flying in as Wes Brown joins the fray. Never one to pull out. It's feisty. Essien.
Well, it's taken 13.5 minutes before we've realised this is not a friendly, and one or two people realised this is a meaningful cup final.
They met in the league, of course, recently. Both teams fielding under-strength starting 11s, but it was still pretty feisty then. The goalless draw, the only one that United have featured in all season. Here's Carrick on to Ronaldo. There were 7 bookings in that meeting recently at Stamford Bridge. Hetze, the Argentine, on to Wayne Rooney. Keen to get involved. Now it's Scholes. Spotting there the run of Ryan, so too though Peter Cech. Incredible to think he's even playing in this final after his horrendous injury back around October time. Fletcher, some room to manoeuvre it there. Good anticipation by Essien. Then Lampard losing out, it's Giggs. Might be a chance here for Rooney, no flags up. Offside. And in fairness, by, I think, some distance. Let's see again from here.
Yeah, there's no doubt there that Rooney is offside. Fletcher not, but once he's played it into Rooney's path, then yes, he was.
Peter Cech wearing that protective headgear, of course, after suffering that fractured skull in a clash with Steve Hunt of Reading.
Well, I think Mourinho says one or two things which, you know, you debate about over the season, but I think the one thing that he did say, which was very, very true, that Peter, if they'd had Peter Cech all the season, I think they would have been closer to Man United than they were, because he has a tremendous influence on this side.
That and the time they were out without John Terry as well, the two of them missing, really did remove the backbone from the side. Mistake made by Essien, and Rooney was suddenly let in then. Really hesitant defending by the Ghanaian, and Rooney read his intentions, was onto it in a flash, and in truth, Ray should have made more of that.
Well, he had plenty of time to have a second touch, but Rooney being Rooney, he obviously saw that Cech was off his line straight away, then he tried to lob him, and it's a very, very difficult skill that didn't come off. But, you know, that's Wayne Rooney. You know, he will try those things where other people wouldn't. But he actually did have time to actually pull it down and probably have a second touch before he decided on the shooting opportunity he wants to take.
He does so often come up with something out of the ordinary. The England striker. He's got 5 goals in the FA Cup this season. And was simply outstanding in the semi-final, his best game of the campaign, according to his manager, in what turned into a fairly comprehensive defeat of Watford. For Chelsea, it was a real struggle to overcome Blackburn Rovers, who fought them every inch of the way before Michael Ballack's winner. Ballack among those missing out then. Shevchenko's another, and Carvalho, as we were saying earlier on. But still enough talent in this squad to be more than a match for Manchester United. Really is a tough one to call either way. But this is Ronaldo. 23 goals from him this season. 17 of them in the Premiership. A record from midfielder. Essien on Rooney. Now it's Scholes. We've got Brown free over on that far side. 3 in the middle here for United, including Rooney. Didn't look too convincing though against Paulo Ferreira. He's burned rather hot and cold at times this season, Rooney, but on many occasions in the big games he really has risen to that occasion, really has shown what he can do. Drogba against Ferdinand, and then Hensey mopping up. So hard to defend against Didier Drogba. Determined to prove his critics wrong, I think, this season. Rooney, and he's certainly done that big time, Didier Drogba. Now Hensey. This is Scholes. Imajevic. Alec Ferguson was pledging all-out attack, but no gung-ho approach as yet. But a half chance or two already, certainly the one that came the way of Wayne Rooney. Out of nothing, really, from Essien's aberration. John Terry. Now Bridge. This is Makelele. It might be his last game, this, for Chelsea. Some talk that he might be moving on. He's got another year on his contract, but I think he wants 2 years for an extension. Chelsea aren't too keen, and there is interest, we gather, from Villarreal in Spain. Makelele is 34 now. And he's pumped no one better in that role, that enforcer role in midfield. But maybe time beginning to catch up with him now.
He's still a tremendous player, though, Peter. You know, I mean,
he's reading of the game, isn't he?
Nobody plays that role better than he does. He just sits there, reads situations. You know, might be 34, but his reading of the game is so good. Very, very rarely gives it away. Allows other people to break forward, and he's always sat in that holding position to bail anybody out who's in trouble.
Joe Cole. Now then to Bridge. And here's Mikel, who may be earmarked for that role in the future, if it is vacated soon by Claude Makelele, the Frenchman. Mikel's pass, of course, he was signed originally by Manchester United. A huge transfer wrangle, resolved in the end by, I think, a £12 million fee in compensation paid by Chelsea for his services. And their faith in him is being justified now, I think, on the back of his displays in recent months. And he really has matured. Rooney, little cushion headed out towards Ronaldo, but Ferreira, his compatriot, was in there first. The two Portuguese together. Here's Didier Drogba, the man from the Ivory Coast. Now then to Joe Cole. Just teasing Brown, still Cole. But then a rather tentative touch by Drogba. Rooney, much better touch from him. Brought it down superbly, linking with Giggs. Fletcher away to his right. Now Ronaldo, the footballer of the year. And that's why, almost delivered. Rooney waiting in the middle. Essien it was who cut it out. Cole breaking. Played in for Drogba. Cole's continued his run through the middle, so is Wright Phillips. It's Drogba! Decent effort too. Has defenders backed off.
Well, I was only just thinking to myself, we've seen nothing of Drogba from the start of the game, apart from one header. He's managed to pick it up there. He's got runners going on beyond, dragging the back four back towards Van der Sar. He sees the opening, hits lots of power, but not quite enough direction. But again, that's what he's capable of. He's allowed to run at you, and that's the first opportunity in the game after 22 minutes that he's actually been able to do that.
A warning certainly then for Manchester United of what he is capable of. Didier Drogba. Not that far away then from what would have been his third goal in the FA Cup this season. Rio Ferdinand, who missed out in 2004 when United last won the Cup because of his lengthy drugs ban. This is Scholes, who was a winner that day. That's Rooney's clipped, a beautiful one as well for Ryan Giggs. In goes Makelele. Terrific work by him to win back possession for Chelsea. And launching a counter raid now through Joe Cole. Far too heavy for Sean Wright Phillips. Wasted opportunity really then from Cole.
It was a disappointing ball, because Sean Wright Phillips on this right hand side was in a good position, and a decent ball would have caused United some problems, but well overhit. But just before that, we spoke about Makelele. That was him at his best. There was a problem out in that left back position, and Makelele went out, cleared out the trouble and set up an attacking move.
Lovely skill then from Ronaldo, teasing Wright Phillips. But they've doubled up on him now with Ferreira. And it's actually come off the Manchester United man. Not only the Football Writers' Player of the Year, Ronaldo, also the choice of his fellow professionals too. Didier Drogba, runner-up on both parts. Clouds overhead at the moment at Wembley. The sunshine out to greet the players on their entrance into this fantastic arena, but now rather overcast. Drogba, in goes Hensey, down goes Drogba in somewhat theatrical fashion, I think you'd have to say.
I'm sure Mr. Mourinho didn't approve of that in the slightest after what he said in the build-up to the game.
He didn't mention names, he just said, don't want anyone spoiling it. I noticed you fell over in the Parade of Legends. And why wasn't I invited?
I think you summed it up there in the first statement, Parade of Legends. You just missed out on that, Peter, I have to say. Although I have seen you perform well in a number of roles.
When I got down there, they said I had the wrong pass. Here's John Terry to SEN. Cautious, some of the approach play so far.
Well, I think one of the problems that United have got certainly is that the way they're playing is that Wayne Rooney, for me, loves to come off the front into holes and pick up the ball, turn and run at people.
Joe Cole. Cleared in rather unorthodox fashion, but effective enough from Hensey.
And obviously, the way things are at the moment, when Wayne Rooney's coming back into midfield, there is nobody in a red shirt going on up beyond.
Right, Phillips, out-tackled though by Scholes.
There's nobody going beyond Chelsea's back four, and therefore Chelsea's back four can push quite a high up the pitch, condense the play, and give United no room to play. And that's a problem for me, for United at the moment, that they've got nobody who is stretching Chelsea going towards their own goal. So therefore, Chelsea can afford to hold a high line and not be afraid of the ball going in behind them.
Heading towards the half-hour mark. It was around this stage last season we had 3 goals in the space of just a few minutes in that fantastic match, Liverpool and West Ham, which Liverpool, of course, eventually won on penalties in the shootout. Scholes, who was the first man in history to miss a penalty kick in a shootout the previous year, as if he'd like me to remind him of that. Ferdinand. Rooney is not going to beat John Terry in the air too often. Lampard. He must put SEN in difficulties then. Here's Ferreira. SEN again. Known as the Bison. This is Mikel. Hensey happy to settle for the throw. So looking forward to playing in this final, Gabriel Hensey. I remember him saying at the quarter and semi-final stages he was champing at the bit at the prospect of United getting there. And now they're here. He's in from the start rather than Evra. Also John O'Shea, who's missed out but is among the subs. So indeed is Patrice Evra, along with Alan Smith and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, as well as the reserve goalkeeper Thomas Kuszczak. Mikel for Chelsea. They've got Ashley Cole, Ian Robben, who's not really fully fit, Kalou and Diarra on the bench, along with Kudacini. Vidic, gifted possession then to Wright Phillips. United almost unhinged, but now it's Fletcher. Rooney looked to be offside. The flag went up a little belatedly.
No, I think, as you say, Peter, there is definitely offside. The interesting thing is when the ball's played that Ronaldo is not offside, and if Rooney had have left it, or Ronaldo could have actually jumped and made contact, he would have been able to play on with it. That's a certainty.
A let off there for Chelsea. Lampard. There's been a little miffed, I think, at suggestions by Sir Alex Ferguson that Chelsea are a more pragmatic side than his. All part of the mind games, though. Wright Phillips looking to embarrass defenders. Carrick and Scholes having none of it, and it will be a free kick to Manchester United. In this battle of two teams who, of course, both missed out on the semi-final stage of the Champions League. At one point, Chelsea going for a quadruple. Ronaldo. Very wayward pass by him, though, this time. Straight up Mikel. Makelele. He won't be venturing too far forward, I'm sure. Mikel. And Makelele happy for him to take it on. There's Paulo Ferreira joining it now. Drogba's in the middle. Lampard as well. Still Ferreira. Here is Lampard. And a good stop by Edwin van der Sar. First time he's really been extended so far, and he was certainly up to it.
Well, that's probably only the second time that Frank Lampard's got in the box, but I think that Hansa there thought that Ronaldo was going to follow that run. He didn't. It's a lovely little ball with his outside of his foot, and how many times have we seen Frank Lampard score from that position? But a good save from Van der Sar. First time he's been tested, and as I say, it's probably only the second time that Frank Lampard's actually got into the box for Chelsea in this half.
6 goals in the FA Cup from Lampard this season. Joe Cole now. Just took it too far, though, the angle too much in the end.
Well, it was his first touch, wasn't it? It was a good ball from Sean Wright Phillips, and he just needed to take it down his left foot towards the goal, and he had a strike on goal. But his first touch took him away from goal, and the opportunity had gone.
Lampard. Cole again. Now Makelele. Not renowned for his goal scoring, but he's gone for it here. He's only got 2 during his Chelsea time. Drogba. He's got plenty more, and then Wright Phillips can't keep it down. But beginning to impose themselves now, Chelsea, in this first half.
Well, I was only just thinking to myself that Chelsea really have been quiet control of this game. United have huffed and puffed without actually opening up Chelsea. But Chelsea have been in control. All of a sudden, in the last couple of minutes, a couple of opportunities. And Sean Wright Phillips there, for me, should have done better. Again, that's 2 opportunities he's had. One he's left early in the game. That one there, where certainly he's got to get over the top of it, and he gets it on target.
That gentleman was at the 1923 FA Cup final, I'm told. Probably sat next to you, Ray. He was aged 8 then. This is Michael Carrick. Rooney, who was only 8 back in '94 when these 2 teams last met in the final. And United very much on top that day by 4 goals to 0. Eric Cantona and his pomp, Mark Hughes. But of all the teams he's had, I think Sir Alex Ferguson is as thrilled as any by the way this one is performing, because it's a relatively new one. Maybe they've overachieved in terms of what they have done this season. They've more than challenged Chelsea's supremacy. Too heavy-handed then, though. Where's Brown? On Joe Cole. Mikel taking the kick quickly with Bridge getting down that left side. Not the service he was hoping for, though. Plenty for them to mull over at this stage. 2 master psychologists in the art of football management. Their relationship a little strained of late, although I think they've got a lot of respect for each other. Certainly Sir Alex has been wincing at some of Jose Mourinho's statements, especially his criticism of Ronaldo, which was totally out of order, really, regarding his family, his upbringing. And in fairness to Mourinho, he did apologise. I think suggesting it was all taken out of context. Ferdinand. Looking for a runner in Rooney. It's a great block, though, by John Terry. Magnificent defending by the captain. Ferdinand. As the sunshine returns. Hansa. He has Carrick available. Now Rio Ferdinand. Just past 200 games now for the club, Ferdinand. Ronaldo! Made something out of nothing there, with two defenders in attendance. That's the measure of the man.
And that's the little ball that can cause Chelsea a problem, because they are holding quite a high line, and Scholes is capable of dropping those balls over the top, but people have got to make those runs to allow him to play those sort of balls. And probably in this first half, with the exception of Rooney, that's probably the first time we've seen Ronaldo make that sort of run in behind Chelsea's back four.
Lampard. Mikel. Terry then for Chelsea. Lampard again. Searching ball for Drogba. Not quite into his path though. And here's Scholes set for United. As both teams seek that creative spark now to find a way to goal. Ferdinand with Carrick. Such a good pass for the ball, such an intelligent passer. And he's located Hetze here. Three runners in the box. But Chelsea have coped, at least they had done. Wright Phillips now. Very much in the mood, buzzing around everywhere. Joe Cole. Wright Phillips. Now bringing Bridge into the play. Lampard. Good strike too. Underlying yet again his eye for goal.
Well, yet again he shows, Frank, that he doesn't have to be in the box to score goals there. It's a tremendous shot. Had Van der Sar worried because it was dipping. It was dipping very late, but thankfully for Van der Sar, dips over the top of the crossbar. But a good strike, and as I say, since in this last 5 or 6 minutes, you would say that Chelsea certainly are in the ascendancy.
Just a bit more edge to their game at this stage. Darren Fletcher, one of the fringe players who've done so well for United this season when called upon. Fletcher again, the Scottish international. Here's Rooney, dropping deep, feeding Ferdinand. Ronaldo's made the run up top. Movement too from Giggs, and from Hetze suddenly arriving on the scene. Good tracking back by Sean Wright Phillips. Mikel with Makalele. Now Cole. Full of stepovers today. I'm sure we'll see plenty more before the afternoon is out from Ronaldo. Meantime, it's Cole again, threatening United's goal. Wright Phillips, not really closed down initially there by Vidic. Just lacked a little bit of concentration than United, but it wasn't too costly. And Ronaldo in possession. Hetze. Carrick and Scholes. This is Ronaldo taking on Ferreira, left it Badet too, still Ronaldo in the block from SEM, which was a crucial one, but it's Rooney, rolled on to Wes Brown. Now Scholes, as United pro for an opening. Ronaldo almost went to ground. Ryan Giggs, he spotted Rooney in the middle. But Chelsea kept it tight back there.
Excellent covering by Wayne Bridge, though. Certainly he spotted the danger. It was a good ball in from Giggs there, and Bridge across on the cover and made a good clearance.
Giggs. Now Scholes, who really can't pick a pass. Hetze. This is Carrick. But United easily repelled that time. At least they had been. Until Drogba lost out. Ferdinand. Is the initiative back with United now? Tossed in by Ronaldo. A little spell of Chelsea pressure prior to this, but United coming back now. Scholes. Offside against Rooney. It wouldn't have counted. Off balance anyway.
It was a finely disguised chip as well by Paul Scholes, but Wayne Rooney just offside when the ball is actually played. But a delightful little ball from Paul Scholes, just Wayne Rooney moving just that fraction of a second too early, and it was a poor finish anyway. But knowing Wayne, if he had been onside, he probably would have scored with it.
Carrick. Now Darren Fletcher. Drogba. And Lampard. Joe Cole can't get away from Wes Brown. Having a suggestion that maybe Alan Smith might have started today, or Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Ferguson going instead, though, for Darren Fletcher as an extra midfielder. Plenty of fluidity about their attacking play anyway, with the personnel around him. But maybe he'll have a rethink later on if it continues to stay this way. Here's Skicks, and surely impeded that he was, painfully so too, for the United captain. So joyfully held aloft the Premiership trophy last weekend.
He could appeal all day there, can't he? But yeah, certainly it was a free kick.
Hensey with Ronaldo. Now Scholes. Just play that pass so cleverly, Scholes. That angle ball out to the flank. I think that's handled, yeah. It was by Joe Cole. He's been reliving his memories of his childhood. He's always been a Chelsea fan. Went to the '94 final. Took a while to get over it. He certainly outplayed that day, Chelsea. Ferdinand. Like Cole and Carrick, of course, former West Ham youngsters together. Ronaldo looking for Hensey. But SCM was there. And it's stopped away then by Wright Phillips. Only Drogba right up top. But now in possession with Cole streaking up to join him. Lampard as well. Still Drogba. Vidic remonstrating there with referee Steve Bennett. Drogba's unhappy as well.
I think that's probably where Mourinho will be disappointed in his half-time chat, is that certainly Chelsea, I think, have controlled United, restricted their attacking options. They've passed it around quite well in the first two-thirds of the field, but in the attacking third of the field, they've been disappointing. We've seen very little of Drogba, we've seen very little of Joe Cole, and as I say, we've only seen Frank Lampard in the box on a couple of occasions. So certainly from Chelsea's point of view, they'll be looking at better ways of trying to score in the second half, I'm sure. United, again, some neat football, but never looking like they're going to get him in behind Chelsea's back four. So I think both managers will be concentrating more on the attacking things they need to do in the second half than they will about anything else.
Hasn't really opened up yet. His first final at the new Wembley. But now it's Ronaldo injecting a little pace into his run against Ferreira. And it's off John Terry for the corner. Typically surging run then from Cristiano Ronaldo. Whose form has been breathtaking this season. Indeed, his manager's been saying he might even be mentioned in the same breath as Pele and Maradona if he continues in the same vein. But who will stand up to the plate for United, or indeed for Chelsea this afternoon? Hensey. Well in Lampard. Likewise, Wes Brown for United. And the foot looked to be a little high from Lampard. Steve Bennett not bothered. But now he is concerned. Scholes clashed with Wright Phillips. It was untidy, it was clumsy.
It was a Paul Scholes tackle, as simple as that. You know, Paul has been around a long, long time now, and for everything that's great about Paul Scholes, tackling has never been his strength, and he's never learnt the art of not tackling when you don't have to. And all he had to do there was get in front of him, stand up to him. He didn't have to make a tackle, but of course, obviously he's given the free kick away, and fortunate not to be booked, as Heinze was probably 30 seconds previous.
Pretty short odds, I think, on Scholes being booked today. Just a 1 extra minute at the end of the first 45. This is Bridge. Scholes. Don't think he's seen Sean Wright Phillips. Mikel, then to Ferreira. Now Lampard. Mikel. Hetze snapping in though with that challenge. So it's all square at the end of the first half. Hasn't really ignited, not really taken off as yet. Chances, a couple of half chances really at either end. 1 or 2 long shots at goal, but neither side really dominating. And it hasn't caught fire as yet in the new Wembley Stadium. Half-time in the FA Cup final. Chelsea 0, Manchester United 0. But he can make a big difference with his talent, his skill, his ability on the ball. Can fly at defenders, and there will be some concern among those defenders for Manchester United if Chelsea can get him in the groove. Two teams who've been scoring so prolifically this season. Chelsea 116 competitive goals, Manchester United 123, but they haven't managed one between them so far today. Here's Paul Scholes. As far as we can establish, it is just a tactical change, no injury. Jose Mourinho just deciding to...
Well, as I say, Joe was probably, you know, one of the people that I felt were not at their best in the first half. Didn't get past their full-back at any stage. Didn't cause, I think I just remember one dangerous cross to the far post, which Sean Wright Phillips should have done better with. But apart from that, we didn't see anything of we know what Joe Cole can deliver, and certainly didn't do that in the first half. And I think probably that's why the change has been made.
He's a master strategist, isn't he, Jose Mourinho? So often he's come up trumps in terms of his substitutions. He's not afraid to make more than one at one time, is he? But at the moment, just the one switch then for the second half. United are as you were. But with the major options certainly of Alan Smith and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Should they want to change? Not just at the moment though, because here's Wayne Rooney, who might yet go all the way. Still Rooney! Beaten away! Offside! Giggs on the follow-up. Super save by Peter Cech.
Well, it was initially a mistake by Makelele, sorry, and there he goes past Essien as though he doesn't exist, then takes it past Ferreira, opens himself up. Good save from Cech, but certainly you can see there that Giggs is already stood in an offside position, albeit Cech made a second save. But that's Rooney at his best, running at people. When he has that space, he can cause anybody problems, and a good shot at the end, but Cech always in control of the situation.
Almost a scorer against Chelsea for the first time for Manchester United, Wayne Rooney. But denied by the brilliance of Peter Cech. So many have suffered that fate since he's come to the English game. I mean, as a fellow goalkeeper, Ray, a former goalkeeper anyway, how would you rate this fellow?
No, he's certainly one of the best. He's proved that since he's come to England. He had a high reputation before he came here to Chelsea, and certainly he's continued that and enhanced it without a shadow of a doubt. He has a big influence on the whole team, not just on stopping the ball going in the net, but just his general goalkeeping, his presence when the ball comes into the box. he comes and collects crosses and takes pressure off situation, and his distribution is excellent as well, and his all-round game, he's certainly one of the top in the world.
Here's Vidic. Now Wayne Rooney. It's cut out though by Essien, striding purposefully forward now. On to Lampard. Bridge available to his left. Drogba calling in the centre. Robben's flick on. And behind for the goal kick. First real contribution so far from Arjen Robben. Player who certainly can't change the course of a game.
Well, we probably had more action in the first 3 minutes of the second half than we had in most of the first half. Let's hope it continues.
If it doesn't improve, you're partly to blame. You, of course, made the draw for the semi-finals, so it's down to you. These two teams are here. I think you wanted to make the draw for the final as well, didn't you? They wouldn't let you. I have to say, incidentally, on goalkeepers, I was watching a film of you playing in the 70s the other day for Liverpool. The perms and the shorts were unbelievable, but the goalkeeping wasn't bad.
No, but mine was just a long mess. There was no perm there.
Right old scrap going on over there, which ends in United's favour. They were ganging up on Cristiano Ronaldo. Hasn't quite lived up to the billing yet. The double footballer of the year. United's player of the year too. He's swept the board in terms of individual honours. Ryan Giggs, who is the club's most decorated player in their history. Toughing it out here against Paulo Ferreira. It's Steve Bennett, the referee, signing with Chelsea. Wright Phillips, who did catch the eye at times in the first half, did threaten to open things up for them. This fellow certainly can. Robben. We're not really sure how fit he is. Certainly hardly played lately. John Terry, who missed so much of the season early on, and they certainly missed him, Chelsea, with his leadership, along with Peter Cech when he was on the sidelines. Lampard. Good ball too. Here is Sean Wright Phillips, threaded on for Drogba. They just about had enough cover then to deprive him of a goal-scoring opportunity, United. But it's Robben now, the Dutchman. In the way was Ferdinand. John Terry climbing high above Wayne Rooney. It's no contest in the air. Might be different on the ground though. Rooney can get a run on him. Makelele, as they were just mopping up in midfield. That defensive shield that he puts up. Mikel. On to Wright Phillips, well in Hansey. Now Ronaldo. Committing Essien, but Makelele yet again was there just to break it up. As he does so consistently. Essien to Lampard, then to Robben. Away from Brown. Maybe from Fletcher too. He just lost his footing at the last, and he was unlucky, Arjen Robben. Felt he was held back.
Well, at least he was being positive there and trying to get to the byline and get beyond the fullback, which we didn't see enough of in the first half from Joe Cole. Unfortunately, he just ran out of space in the end, but certainly in this opening 5 or 6 minutes there, Robben has looked very, very positive, and he's looked very, very fit as well.
Lampard. Mikel. Certainly has grown in stature as the season progressed. John Obi Mikel. Wright Phillips. Blocked by Hansey. United looking for their 12th FA Cup triumph. Chelsea have been winners 3 times in the past. Most recently then in 2000. The last final at the old Wembley. Roberto Di Matteo with the only goal. 3 years after he scored the fastest goal in a final post-war against Middlesbrough. But hardly sat down. Makelele on to Lampard. Now it's Bridge. Makelele again was tidy in possession and distribution too. Good challenge though by Vidic. In goes Mikel away from Scholes. He was more decisive than the Nigerian. Mikel again. United got sloppy. In goes Drogba. Big test then for Rio Ferdinand. Such a menace in the air, Drogba. Menace anywhere, in truth. Now Scholes. Dancing away from Mikel. It's Hatsay. In for Rooney. Having a fend off Makelele. Fletcher. Only once has Sir Alex Ferguson got the better of Jose Mourinho in the past. Hoping to turn the tide this afternoon, but it remains, Ray, a very close call.
Well, I think certainly in the next 10 or 15 minutes he'll be looking at, is this system actually working? Because, you know, all we've seen is the one chance in this second half which Rooney created for himself and pulled a good save out of Peter Cech. But apart from that, we haven't seen an awful lot of United opening up Chelsea's back four, and I think he'll look at that and think, you know, we need to be doing better, and maybe he needs to change the system a little bit to help that.
Drogba winding up the Chelsea fans now, imploring them to get behind their team, and they have responded too. With United here on the back foot, Paulo Ferreira, who's followed Jose Mourinho throughout his career, of course, having played with him at two different clubs, including Porto, back at his homeland. Corner, says Robin. And the assistant referee over on that far side, Dave Bryan, agrees. Robin will take it. Not before John Terry arrives in the middle. He's only scored once this season, and that was on the opening day, Terry. Over 40 games now without one. Mikel on the near post. And of course, Drogba is in the mix as well. Plenty to concern Manchester United back there. But up comes Rooney, showing his strength on the counter raid here. Terrific run by Rooney. And he's kept going too until it's nicked away from him by Wayne Bridge. Excellent defending by him. But then a poor clearance straight to Giggs. Ronaldo. This is really promising here for United. They've got 3 in the penalty area, but the service isn't forthcoming from Brown. But signs here that the cup final is beginning to come alive. Wayne Rooney. Scores. Perfect weight on that pass. And Ryan Giggs only inches over the top. What a ball then from Scholes.
A fantastic ball from Paul Scholes there. It really was. Just dropped onto Giggs' left foot. Go on, stick that in the net. Unfortunately, over the top of the crossbar. But we've seen on 2 or 3 occasions, we know that Scholes is capable of doing that. But he needs people to make that run in behind Chelsea's back four to be able to deliver that ball. Giggs has done it 2 or 3 times in this second half now and then. Different players need to be doing it. Ronaldo needs to be doing it. Rooney needs to be doing it. Because they are holding a high back line and there is space behind them to get at them.
Ronaldo is trying to do exactly that now. No room for error. And there certainly wasn't one from John Terry. He's had to battle his way back from injury this season. But he's such a leader for this Chelsea side. He's been talking about the pain he suffered at having to form a card of honour for Manchester United as they conceded the league title to them. Only fair, though, he said, we did receive the same treatment when we won the championship and had to go to Old Trafford. Mikel being hunted down then by Scholes, who does come up with some exquisite passes. Remember that fantastic pass against Milan in the Champions League. But overall, it's been heartbreak and heartache for these two sides in terms of the major prize in Europe. Who is going to come out on top today in this domestic showdown? United the league champions, Chelsea the runners-up, and even Steven now in the cup final with just over 10 minutes of the second half played.
Well, it's certainly a far more exciting game now. Over the far side as well, I can see Solskjaer and Alan Smith warming up as well. So, oh dear.
Guess who? Paul Scholes.
I don't think he's going to get away with that one somehow.
So the bookies were right. There were very short odds on him being cautioned this afternoon. So much talent, so many different attributes that he has. Tackling is not one of his better ones. He's had 2 sendings off, hasn't he, late in the season? Now he's walking a tightrope at Wembley. A vibrant Wembley now. Robin is there. As Terry waits in the middle. Didier Drogba might have a go from here. He has. Oh, nearly sneaked in too. I'm not sure if Van der Sar had that covered, did he?
I think that may have hit the outside of the post there. I mean, he really did clout that. It's gone round the outside there. I'm not sure if that had been inside the post that actually Van der Sar would have saved it. He's across there, but he's actually inside the net when he's trying to get to the ball. So a really close call. I would have thought Van der Sar would be disappointed maybe in his wall that the ball can actually get around the outside of that wall, but it did, and it struck the outside the post as well.
Rooney again using his strength offside against Giggs. Oh, but a scare at the other end this time for Chelsea. Ryan Giggs, who hasn't scored since February.
No, I think that sort of ball's on all the time for Man United if they get those runners in. OK, on that occasion, Giggs is just a little bit early, but if he times his run better, there is so much grass in behind Chelsea's back four that the right timing of the run, delivery of the ball, will give Man United golden opportunities.
And without Carvalho's pace, they are a little suspect to that kind of manoeuvre, Chelsea. Carvalho, as I was saying earlier, has just agreed a new 5-year contract, but not featuring at the moment because of injury. So he's had to reshuffle things around, Jose Mourinho, while still looking for that missing dog. Here's Lampard. Frustration for Drogba. I think he felt he had so much to prove, though, to Chelsea fans this season, and he's done that in a big way. Didn't really feel he was appreciated in his first campaign. Certainly has been at the end of this one. But is it going to end in triumph? Ryan Giggs, hoping for yet another league and cup double. If they manage it, it will be the 4th under Sir Alex Ferguson. Lampard. And support here from Aaron Robben. Deceiving Brown a little too easily, maybe. Still Robben. Drogba was in the middle. Oof! Scholes with the back header there. And he got his bearings hopelessly wrong. Ronaldo onto Rooney then. Mikel stepping in. Mistakes from both teams. Two teams who have set themselves such high standards rather cancelled each other out in the first 45 minutes, but now it's game on. Essien. Robben. Taking on Fletcher. Great run here by Robben. And Van der Sar had to spread himself very quickly there to narrow the angle, but Robben, no question, is making a difference.
He certainly is, and it's just his positiveness that he's running at Wes Brown and causing to turn him inside out. But he'd be disappointed there because he's actually got to the byline and he's hit it across the 6-yard box. And Frank Lampard is actually stood about 10 yards out, totally free, level with the near post. Ball needs to be cut back to him. He's got a golden opportunity to score. Robin didn't see that.
Just couldn't quite deliver then, Robin. And he's giving Wes Brown a torrid time at the moment. Bridge to Robin. To Just ghosting away then from Fletcher, but well got back by Brown. That was more like it from the Manchester United defender. Rooney taking on and getting away from Michael Essien. Still Rooney ploughing a lone furrow, and out comes Peter Cech so bravely.
Well, we've seen Wayne Rooney's strength twice now in probably the last 10 minutes. One run from virtually his own penalty box, and then that run there shook off Essien as though he didn't exist and just broke into the box. It took a very brave save from Peter Cech to stop him from getting a goal-scoring opportunity.
He says he can't remember that clash with Steve Hunter-Redding, just as well probably because he did suffer such a serious injury. But no second thoughts there from Peter Cech. No sign of fear. But then you goalkeepers are a daft breed. Here's Scholes. In every sense. Carrick. Much better game now. Carrick again to Scholes. Having to fend off Drogba, and it wasn't easy either. No causes lost for him. Ferdinand rolled on to Fletcher. But Ferreira's there. Out to Mikel. That's good anticipation by Rio Ferdinand. Seems to stroll through games sometimes, but really needs his wits about him against the likes of Drogba, and now Robben too. Now that he's entered the fray. Ryan Giggs. Ronaldo. Makelele in his way, and he handled that. Can't get past it too easily though, that's for sure.
It's probably a good job he did handle it, because I think if when Ronaldo tries to flick this through here, certainly there's no doubt it is handball, but Ronaldo tried to flick it through. Certainly Giggs was in behind the full, in behind Ferreira there, and would have had a golden opportunity. So it's a foul worth conceding as far as Makelele is concerned.
Such an outstanding signing for Chelsea, Paul Makelele. And they would be, I'm sure, very sad to see him go if he does. Real Madrid have won nothing since he's departed from the Bernabeu. It's a measure of how much they've missed him. Now, what can United conjure up here? Giggs, Fletcher, Ronaldo, of course. Score of those 23 goals this season, 3 of them in the FA Cup. Here he comes. Still time for his brilliance to shine through.
Well, at least in this second half, there's an urgency from both teams to try and go and win the game. I think, you know, that's probably what's been said at half-time, is that, you know, don't be cautious, go out and try and win the game. It's a showpiece and make it into one. And certainly this second half, both teams have certainly been more aggressive in trying to go at the opposition defence.
His introduction, Aaron Robben, is making an impact. Brown had the measure of him. Oh, and he's limping now, Robben. Was a hefty challenge, but a fair one, I'd have to say. Nothing wrong with the tackle from Brown, who I think prefers playing in the centre, but no doubt just happy to be in the starting 11. And Robben is now down on the ground, clutching his leg.
Yeah, it was a really strong British tackle, I would say, and there was nothing wrong with it at all. It rattled every bone in Robben's body, and I think certainly maybe the ankle was where the weakness was, I'm not sure, but certainly that's where he's taken the bang. But it really was a real old British tackle. And somebody like Dave Mackay, who we saw walking around the pitch with the legends before, would have relished making it this day.
Tommy Smith, your old teammate, one of his.
Correct.
This is the run from Wayne Rooney here. Look at his strength to shake off Essien. That is no simple task either.
No, and he got across the face of Essien, so Essien couldn't tackle him. But you know, Peter Cech's come out and made an excellent tackle there. He's knocked it around John Terry. John Terry knows that Peter Cech is the sort of keeper. He'll come out and get down at the feet there. He's not worried about his old injury, and made certainly a very brave save.
But this is a worry, quite clearly, for Aaron Robben, whose season has rather stuttered along because of injuries. Of course, they've had so many in general terms lately. So have United, too, in fairness to them. Particularly in the lead-up to the Champions League semi-finals, when they had defenders out, United. Mourinho was struggling as well, though, to put out a strong team. And it's not just losing Carvalho at the back, Ray, it's losing Essien in midfield, I think, is such a key.
Yes, yeah, and you know, Mourinho's made that point towards the back end of the season, that although, you know, they've got Makelele in there, Mikel in there, and obviously Frank Lampard, they still miss Essien's drive from the middle of the field without a shadow of a doubt. And of course, Essien is doing a good job at the back, but we've seen on 2 or 3 occasions that the only time that Chelsea have probably looked vulnerable is when something happens around Essien. He's given a couple of balls away. Rooney's got at him a couple of times and he's not been able to deal with it. So certainly it's not ideal, but you come to this stage of the season and you have to make your team work with the players you've got left.
Giggs, so he's onside this time. And there he was, Michael Essien, right on cue.
Yeah, obviously not offside with the ball. The fullback's playing him on here when the ball's played through. Rooney's pointing to that far post, but Essien gets a great tackle in there as the ball's tried to be played across.
He's had to learn how to play that position very quickly too. I don't think he'd operated as a central defender before around January time. John Terry saying he'd learned how to do so in about 5 minutes at training in the build-up to the Carling Cup semis.
I have to say, I don't think that Aaron Robben's still moving very, very comfortably. He's after the ball there, but I'm not sure he's feeling totally right.
Well, they'll give it a bit longer, surely, bearing in mind the impression that he's made since coming on for this second half. Here's Scholes, the only player on a booking so far. Essien's header, then Mikel, Makelele, Drogba. Westbound getting a foot in though, and John Terry to collect for Chelsea. Hoping he's going to collect some silverware later on this afternoon. 20 minutes to go, no sign of a breakthrough as yet for either team. Only the 3rd time, incidentally, in FA Cup history that the top 2 in the league have clashed in the final. The last was back in the mid-80s, Liverpool beating Everton in the Merseyside derby. You'd gone by then, hadn't you, Osborne?
I'd left by there. It was a very poignant event, if I remember rightly. It was the year of Hillsborough, wasn't it? And the 2 of them.
Mikel. Now Robben. Brown will be delighted to see the back of him. Now, who did that come off? Lampard, presumably. But he doesn't look comfortable, does he? Not moving at all freely, Aaron Robben.
No, he's trying to run it off, but, you know, he was positive there again, but certainly he's definitely not 100%. It's just how much longer he can keep going before they have to make the change.
Well, these two sides have shown such desire, such commitment this season. Never say die spirit. And it looks as if we're going to be in for another cliffhanger, given their involvement. Ronaldo. So many late goals this season from Chelsea in particular. Something like 25 times they've got late goals. Carrick. Of course, United have shown their character on the number of occasions they've been called upon to save the day. Certainly Van der Sar in the recent Manchester derby with his penalty save. That was a turning point in the title race. Mikel. Not that many options open to him. One was Robben, then it's Makelele. Lampard. Wright Phillips, who has been lively. Makelele clashing with Scholes. Careful. He's got the free kick here. But he's had rave reviews all season, Paul Scholes. It's just a pity he's not playing for England anymore. He was invited to by Steve McLaren, but he politely rejected that possibility. I think he gave it some thought though first.
Yeah, I think he did, but you know, he loves his family life, and he feels that, you know, he's away from home enough with United that international football takes you away a lot more.
Wright Phillips swinging this one over. No real call then on Fletcher, who's saying, look, I had no other option. Working tirelessly, grafting so hard, Darren Fletcher. Hence his inclusion today by Sir Alex Ferguson. But he might decide to change things around, bring on Smith or Solskjaer pretty soon. Even John O'Shea, perhaps. He's actually got the best percentage strike rate among any player in the Premiership. 4 goals from 5 attempts. Mikel spreading the play here to find Robben. He's just teased it in too far and too close to Edwin van der Sar, who's pulled off a couple of very good saves today, but generally hasn't had a great deal to do. And to a certain extent, I suppose you can say the same about Peter Cech as well.
Yeah, so I think you know, both keepers have probably had 2 saves to make each. That's been it, and that's been the disappointing part of the afternoon. There's not been a real cutting edge to either side so far, although, as I do say, second half there looks the possibility of something happening, whereas the first half I wasn't too sure.
Hensay to Ryan Giggs. Can he make something happen here? There's a good touch then by Giggs to Hensay. It's Giggs again. Away from Sean Wright Phillips. No real height in there for United. And Chelsea forcing Hensay back. And it will be a Chelsea throw too.
Well, to be fair to Sean Wright Phillips there, you know, he has worked tirelessly all afternoon. He's playing mainly down that left-hand side. He's come in field sometimes, but he really has worked hard and had an influence.
Such a strong run by Drogba. And there was a clash then inside the box, and referee Bennett says no penalty. But did he follow through then, Drogba? I tell you what, they had their work cut out then, Ray, just containing the threat of Drogba.
Well, as we've said before, he's so strong when he gets on a run there. You know, he's probably, you know, the strongest centre forward in the country. When he gets on this run, he's going to take some stopping. And Vidic gets across him there and then goes through the... Drogba is frustrated and goes through the back of Vidic and catches him on his ankle. You'll see it here. Look, just kicks through the back as he's falling and catches Vidic at the back of his calf, and just the frustration of being blocked off.
But he just brushed Rio Ferdinand aside for the sheer force of his run. No love lost there between Ferdinand and Drogba. Well, he can complain all he likes. Steve Bennett is not going to concur with his opinion. It's going to be a free kick to Manchester United. His first FA Cup final. He's been talking this week of how much he looked forward to it. The English final, back home in Portugal, one of the big events of the year for him. And so honoured to be featuring in this, the first one at the new Wembley. All square. Just as it was 2 years ago when United took on Arsenal. Two giants at the time. Eventually won by Arsenal on a penalty shootout. Now it's squirmed into the path of Scholes. Giggs. And a loose challenge by Ferreira, which has been punished. Heading towards the last 10 minutes. Heading towards extra time as it stands.
And getting to where one or two players might just be feeling a little bit of fatigue, and therefore the missed time tackles might start to come in, and one of them could be very costly.
Vidic hasn't gone up. Hense has. So has Brown. But neither Brown nor Ronaldo could reach it. Brown, who's only scored twice in his United career.
Well, there was just a little bit of hesitancy when the ball was played in there. You can see Peter Cech starts to come for it. I think they think that maybe he is going to come, but John Terry uses all his experience there to just ease the other two United players out of the way.
There is no more dominant defender in the English game than the English captain, John Terry. Robert to Drogba, now Lampard. Looking to make one of those well-timed surges into enemy territory. Ronaldo hoisted out, but not very effectively by Brown. Ronaldo getting a second bite at it. John Obi Mikel to Makelele. Mikel again. Still a degree of caution that has crept back in over the last few minutes. Nobody wants to make a mistake this late in the day. Paulo Ferreira. Only Drogba to aim for in the penalty box.
And that's been a feature of the game, Chelsea's attacking, when they have got in good wide positions. Drogba's always been in there, but there hasn't been a second or a third player breaking in there. I mentioned in the first half we'd only seen Frank Lampard, who normally breaks in there all the time. Only a couple of times in the first half, and we've probably only seen him a couple of times in the second half as well.
Goal kick. Hense clashing with Sean Wright-Phillips, the former Manchester City player, of course. Hoping to embarrass their old rivals at Wembley this afternoon. John Terry onto Mikel. Now it's Essien. Bridge. Drogba, of course, is the target against Vidic, who's come out on top. Scholes. Being chased down, though, by Makelele. Then Lampard. Did that come down off the hand of Fletcher? If it did, it wasn't intentional. That presumably is the referee's view. And I would think the right one. Bridge to Essien. Bit of inspiration needed from somewhere if this final is to be decided inside the 90 minutes. Not looking that way at the moment, you would have to say.
No, it's not, but there are enough talented players out there that just one piece of brilliance might just be enough to win it from now on in.
Sir Alex Ferguson feared Chelsea would be a wounded animal this afternoon. Well, they have certainly matched United's standards thus far. Chelsea, who themselves have set such high standards over the past 2-3 years, in particular since Mourinho's arrival. Robin showing a clean pair of heels again to Wes Brown. Fletcher's come across. Did well too. Brown played in for Carrick. Not really been a major influence, Michael Carrick. Giggs. Mourinho wasn't happy about the challenge there and leapt out of his seat. Giggs. Now it's Makelele's challenge on Scholes that has incurred the wrath here of referee Bennett.
Well, you have to say there that, no, I think Mr. Bennett has refereed very well this afternoon, but yes, that was a foul and probably a booking offence, but United were in possession, they had total advantage. Ryan Giggs was running at the last defender and it was giving them a possible goal scoring opportunity, and I think Mr. Bennett should have let play go on and then gone back.
I think Rio Ferdinand is just making that point rather strongly to him. Now, he's refereed sensibly, I think, Steve Bennett today, but maybe reacted a little too quickly there. Easy to say from up here. Fletcher, Giggs, trying to squeeze it on for Rooney. Terry is there, as ever, for Chelsea. Drogba, using his body strength to excellent effect. Lampard felt he was being held back, but I think he was too, by Vidic.
Yeah, quite definitely. Once Drogba got turned, Lampard was on his way. I think he might have got the other side of Vidic there, but certainly he was held back, and referee Bennett again. Maybe you can see it, you can see, look, he's definitely got hold of him, stopping his flow of run, and it's another booking.
He seemed such a mild-mannered fellow off the field, Vidic, but on it, really tenacious, aggressive, combative, but overstepping the mark on that occasion. So hard to stop Didier Drogba, though, when he's in full flow. Frank Lampard hovering with intent on this free kick. It's going to take a fair old thump to beat Van der Sar from here. Didn't get anywhere near him, but it was painful for Paul Scholes in that wall. Makelele onto Bridge. Now Robert. Hetze. Straight to Mikel. Makelele turning away from trouble. Wright Phillips, Lampard. Inviting Wright Phillips to show his pace here. Robert was almost in. Fletcher hounded out of it by Lampard. Just asking a question of the referee there, but not with that much conviction. And certainly Steve Bennett was having none of it in terms of maybe giving a penalty there. No way. Wright Phillips to Ferreira. Inside the last 4 minutes or so, plus stoppage time. Mikel. This is Claude Makelele, the veteran anchor man for Chelsea. Now Drogba, so often a saviour for them in the past, a match winner for them in the past. Stabbed out by Ferdinand that time.
Nearly a very, very costly error by Fletcher there, it really was. You can't be taking chances like he did on the edge of the 18-yard box.
They got sloppy at the other end, United, but now they're pressing themselves with Ronaldo. Is this going to be his moment? Never looked like extending. Peter Cech, though.
Once he's come with that left foot, he just cuts right across it. Michael Carrick, you can see, was in free at that near post if you could have spotted him. Pulls it wide, and you just see Michael Carrick there by the near post. Could have just rolled it to him. Goal scoring opportunity.
So are we heading for the third final in a row that's going to extra time? It happened 2 years ago, United and Arsenal, then again of course last season Liverpool and West Ham. Unless one of these two teams can come up with something now right at the last, it's going to happen again. There'll be 2 added minutes. Lampard's not interested this time. It's Aaron Robben taking on the responsibility. Clipped in by Robben. Dealt with by Ferdinand. But only temporarily. Bridge now. Mikel to aim for, as well as Drogba. But Vidic made sure he made no impression that time, the Ivorian.
No, in those one-on-one confrontations in the air, Vidic has won 90% of them. The only time Drogba's looked dangerous is when he gets it and he gets turned and running at the central two of Manchester United.
Vidic has caught Drogba in the face. Not intentionally, I'm sure. At least I think I'm sure. Essien. Bridge. Wright Phillips trying his luck down this left side. Cross comes Rio Ferdinand. Just sweeping up the danger. Cutting out the potential threat. But now it's Lampard. Couldn't wriggle free. Ronaldo stepping away from Lampard. Now Giggs. Scholes. Carrick, Ronaldo, it's neat. But can they find the cutting edge? Into stoppage time, Wayne Rooney. Bludgeoning his way through, still Rooney. And some pretty desperate defending, but successful defending by Chelsea and by Essien.
Well, again, real strength by Rooney. A little bit lucky there, got hold of Ferrara. But Essien, again, when he needs to make that vital tackle, he's been there. But Rooney really has been the only one in this latter part of the second half that's caused Chelsea any problems at all.
This time Vidic has gone up, Ferdinand's gone up. Giggs with the corner. Smuggled away by Didier Drogba. Hetze. It's a Chelsea throw. And we've almost had the first of those 2 added minutes. Extra time beckoning, looming now, Ray. What are your thoughts?
Well, I still think that Sir Alex Ferguson must think about doing something to get more support to Wayne Rooney in extra time if they're going to win this in extra time. Because there is just Wayne Rooney's up there on his own, nobody's getting close to him. This man on the ball now, Ronaldo, we haven't seen enough of, and certainly in the attacking third.
We're seeing him now, that is Ronaldo's pass in. Superbly anticipated though, smothered by Terry. In goes Brown on Wright Phillips. And it's a United free kick with only some 20 seconds or so remaining. If we're to believe it is only 2 minutes that referee Bennett has allowed for, but it's a minimum of 2. Up comes Vidic. Ferdinand in the mix as well, and Hetze looking over on the far side. Here comes Ryan Giggs. Last chance perhaps then for Manchester United. Whipped in dangerously, but out of harm's way. From a Chelsea viewpoint, came on Vidic.
Well, I think Vidic realised this is a chance. It's a really good ball in there. He's got his head on it, but too much of it. And right over the top, but it's a wicked ball in from Giggs. And there's Vidic free inside the near post, but couldn't just glance it enough. And we're into extra time.
It's goalless after 90 minutes. Hard graft, hard toil, but nothing to choose between the top 2 in the English game. Mourinho's side had their moments, had their chances, and certainly it was a better second half. But now we have another 30 minutes at least. If they still can't be separated, there will be a penalty shootout.
We're going to stick the way we started, some hour and a half ago or more than that now, with United defending the goal where their own supporters congregated. And let's get back to Ray Clements and first to Peter Brackley.
Well, who could confidently predict now which way this might go? Ray, you featured in extra times in cup finals yourself 3 times, I think, in the past.
Yes.
Winding back the years now, what's going through their minds, do you think?
Well, the biggest thing is the mental thing. Obviously, physically, I mean, they're lucky today that it hasn't been really hot, but they will be drained because it's been a massive occasion, the first game back here at the new Wembley. So they will be physically drained, and it's important now that they're mentally strong and stick to the plan that the coaches have given them at full time there, because one slip now, invariably in extra time, is enough to decide the game.
And there is going to be a change in a moment for Manchester United. Alan Smith, I think, is being prepared. And he'll ruffle a few feathers, that's for sure.
I actually find that quite amazing that they've had full time there, and they've had 5 minutes to sort out what they're going to do, and they've kicked off, and now they're going to bring a sub on. Why on earth they didn't do it while they had the break, I don't know.
I think they just wanted to listen to your opinions first. Now they've heard them, they're happy to get on with it. They've got a link down there. Makelele to Terry. That was Vidic. Over comes Ferdinand. Now Mikel. Scholes left his foot in, needs to be careful. Having been booked, remember, early on. Along with Vidic. Now Makelele, the one caution so far for the team in blue. And here is the switch. Alan Smith, who's had to fight his way back from a long-term injury, that shattering injury at Liverpool in the 5th round of the FA Cup last season. Might have started today. Some speculation that he would do. Well, he's got his chance now in place of Darren Fletcher. Good nuisance value, certainly, and a fellow who knows where the goal is.
And it's not a surprise, you know, it now gives them, Wayne Rooney, that immediate support with Alan Smith around him. They'll still continue with Scholes and Carrick in the middle there. And of course they've got the 2 wide men who have been so vital to them all year in creating, in Ronaldo and Giggs. We've still got to see more from Ronaldo, but maybe they might just do better as an attacking force now.
Here's Ryan Giggs to Carrick. His first Premiership title behind him now, Carrick. So keen, so desperate to out the cup as well, but not if Chelsea have anything to do with it, as they look to end their season on a buoyant note. Season that promised so much for them, and no disrespect, they won't be happy at just settling for the Carling Cup, that's for sure. Now Kalu is being introduced, and it's a straight swap really in terms of Sean Wright-Phillips going off. One attacking player for another, although Kalu, I'm sure, will go straight down the middle. He's done well, Wright-Phillips.
He has, certainly for me, you know, he's been one of the brighter lights in the Chelsea side in terms of he has worked extremely hard, he's been positive, he's tried to run at the likes of Henser and people like that, but you know, he's probably just run out of legs because he really did work extremely hard in that 90 minutes.
Salomon Kalu, the 21-year-old. Really was a straight choice between him and Wright-Phillips as to who started today. Bearing in mind that Robin wasn't fully fit. Paulo Ferreira. Now Terry. He's played his part this season, Kalu, almost into double figures in terms of his goals tally. And of course he's been outshone in that department by the likes of Drogba and Lampard, and to a lesser extent by Shevchenko, another of the absentees today. wonder who's going to be here next season. Mikel to Robben. Robben, one of the players in a contractual dispute we hear with Chelsea. Terry and Lampard are others. Certainly some of the newspapers in England today suggesting that Lampard in particular might be playing his last game for the club this afternoon. Don't you believe it, though? Can't really see that happening, Ray, can you?
I couldn't see that happening, you know. I mean, for Mourinho, Terry and Lampard are major parts of the team, as is Peter Cech, and to lose either one of them would be a major blow to Mourinho, and therefore I think whatever they've got to do, they'll finish up doing, but they'll let the season get out of the way first and then deal with us afterwards.
Giggs, play on, says Steve Bennett. And Smith is doing exactly that. Well cut up though by Michael Essien, who's played in so many positions for Chelsea this season. Right back, wing back, central midfield and centre back today in the absence of Carvalho. Giggs will take the corner. It's a signal for Ferdinand to advance and Vidic. And of course Cristiano Ronaldo is certainly no slouch in the air. Noted in by Giggs, not deep enough though. Dealt with by Lampard, but they haven't cleared the danger.
Well, the delivery from set plays from United has been very, very poor. Apart from the one late on in the game when Vidic had a chance towards the near post, they've never cleared the front man, and the front man has always managed to head the ball clear. And you know, that annoys coaches and managers tremendously when you work all season on, or not all season, but all week on delivery from set plays, and then they don't deliver them on the day.
Mourinho and Sir Alex Ferguson calling for a gala performance from the two teams this afternoon to mark the return of Wembley, the rebirth of Wembley. Hasn't quite lived up to the billing in that way, but plenty more drama, I'm sure, to come yet. Essien. Outgunning Ryan Giggs. Here's Kalou. Out on the flank for the moment. Kalou down the right, Drogba still at times a little isolated through the middle. Giggs to Scholes. We're all saying it, one moment of magic that could turn this tie, this final. That's off Ferreira. Corner to Manchester United. The 11 times winners, record 11 time winners of the FA Cup. Sir Alex with his first back in 1990, when they said his job was on the line. Had they not have won that final? Well, just look what he's achieved since then. And still they keep on coming. Terry to Ferreira. Now Rooney battling hard as ever. 3 to aim for in the centre. And Essien had to keep a really watchful eye on that. Here's Ryan Giggs. Played in for Scholes, not really closed down. Certainly fatigue beginning to creep in now. Here's Wes Brown. But Terry has ever kept his concentration. Oh, now the chase might be on. Certainly had Ryan Giggs scuffling back, and he was caught by Lampard. Yeah, free kick to United. The Premiership title is not enough for us, says Sir Alex Ferguson. We want this one as well. Ronaldo to Scholes with a shooting chance. But well wide of the mark.
Yeah, he's disappointed there. It's a good shooting opportunity for him. John Terry out as quickly as possible to try and block it because he knows the ability Scholes has got, but Scholes sliced right across it, and no problem to Peter Cech in the goal whatsoever.
And fair to say, it certainly deterred him. The side of John Terry launching himself at you. I'd have just given him the ball. Essien. No, there's an injury. It's Lampard, isn't it?
It is Frank Lampard, yeah. There's a Rio Ferdinand, big strong challenge, catches him right in the back with his knee there, and that will be painful.
I thought they were mates.
They will be after it's all finished, but there are no mates on a football field in the cup final.
None, well, no quarter asked and none given. 10 minutes into extra time, as we still await the first goal. Not too often do these two sides fail to score. But remember, it was goalless recently in their league meeting at Stamford Bridge, albeit with understrength teams. Giggs. Rooney's after it. Terry in his way. And amazingly, it's Terry who's come off worse there. No, he's okay, back on his feet. Didn't feel a thing. He just swatted Rooney away like a fly. Drogba trying to impose himself at the other end. The last extra time winner in an FA Cup final, 1993, Andy Linnigan for Arsenal against Sheffield Wednesday. Are we going to see one now from either Chelsea or Manchester United? Drogba, failing though to link up with Lampard, and it's goals for United. On to Ronaldo. Smith through the middle. Rooney here. Carrick. Not even breaking sweat. It's Giggs, in for Smith. Almost made some room for himself. Sniffing out a chance, and it almost came his way. But Chelsea survive. Bridge. Now Lampard. Robin, the option ahead of him. Ferdinand was in too quickly for him. Didn't really react then, Robin. Still not moving freely. Pense to Jumanjevic. Celebrating Serbia's success in the Eurovision Song Contest. We've all been humming the winner ever since.
You must remind me of that one, Peter.
Where did we come? Nowhere. Pense. Vidic again. Ronaldo to Scholes. Michael Carrick, almost down to walking pace.
Well, I think Michael Carrick's feeling the pace a little bit in terms of stretching himself off at times. Just actually, I might have a little bit of cramp coming on, so he's certainly not moving as freely as he has been throughout the game.
Aaron Robin. All gave it away very carefully then to Carrick. Ronaldo, now there's danger. And Rooney to drill it across. Giggs! Was it over the line? The referee's assistant, who was right in line, says no. What a let-off then for Chelsea, as Giggs almost made himself a hero yet again, as he's done so often down the years for Manchester United. But it's Robin here for Chelsea. Kalou. Still Salomon Kalou. Trying to take them all on. Lampard's up there with it. But United counter the threat. And now it's Alan Smith. Oh, perfect playing conditions today in terms of the surface. But even Smith's could have done it there, and he's got a yellow card now.
Well, you have to say, Peter, how did Ryan Giggs miss this? It's a great ball in front, Rooney. It's an open goal for him, and he hits it the one place that Peter Cech could possibly save it. Now, I'm not sure if actually Giggs did not force him over the line with the ball, but if he did, I'm sure it would have been a free kick anyway, so it wouldn't have counted. But how did he manage to put it in there?
That was Robben. Well, sight netting then from Drogba. Whacks it into the crowd, into the Manchester United fans back behind that goal. He says sorry. A bit late now. Sheer frustration.
Yeah, that's the frustration of the FA Cup. He's not been in the game as much as he'd like to have been. He gets a half a chance here. It is only a half a chance. Can't direct it. And box straight into the crowd.
Meantime, it's half-time in the FA Cup final. And it's still without a goal. He might have had his legs clipped then, you know, Ryan Giggs, but I think you're right. It probably was over the line, but surely follow through.
I think it's the follow through here. I mean, it's an incredible opportunity. He has to score. He certainly saves it this side of the line. The momentum of Giggs just pushes him straight over the line. It can't be a goal. It's either a free kick and on you go from there, but it can't be a goal, even though certainly the ball is behind the line. The momentum of the player has pushed him through there, and but this is just a golden opportunity. It really is. You can't get a better opportunity in a cup final than that.
Really dangerous, inviting ball. Swung over then by Wayne Rooney. I mean, Cech maybe thought about coming for it. Was that the right decision there, Ray? In the end,
I think that Cech could not have come for it. I think it was just a superb ball in from Wayne Rooney. It was just asking to be put in the net. Alan Smith just couldn't get to it, but certainly Ryan Giggs did get to it, and although there was a tackle coming in from behind, you can't make that an excuse for him. A player of his ability, you'd have expected to stick that either side of Peter Cech, giving him no chance whatsoever.
Ryan Giggs in his 7th FA Cup final, hoping to be the first to win 5 winners' medals since Jimmy Forrest of Blackburn back in 1891. Lou Macari there I saw, Gary Mabbott, former Tottenham player. Macari, of course, once of Manchester United. '77, were you in goal for that one for Liverpool? So many games you played in, Ray, I can't keep up with them.
Yeah, but you keep telling me all the ones that I lost in.
You weren't in that 1871, you weren't in that one, were you? With Jimmy Forrest with his
if I had been, we would probably have lost that as well.
Michael Essien. Who will be the winners and losers this afternoon in this gripping final? Maybe not a classic in terms of the football played, but still an enthralling chapter, the latest chapter in the history of this famous old competition. Keys to the new Wembley only handed over in March after all the trials and tribulations that we've been referring to today. So many delays, we probably thought the keys wouldn't fit the lock. Here's Scholes. Laid off by Giggs. What's going through his mind now? So close to what could well have been the winner. Now Rooney's been penalised. But it was his superb cross that led to the opportunity for Giggs that was spurned right in front of the post. Robben, crotching challenge by Brown. It's released Ronaldo. In full fly, Giggs onto Rooney. Chelsea being pegged back here, it's Wayne Rooney! Maybe closer than I might have thought from my angle, just past the post. I think it might have been further away than I feared, though.
I think so, but yet again, you know, Wayne Rooney certainly showing yet again that he's the one that is causing the threat to Chelsea. I think they've certainly looked better attacking-wise since Smith has come on, because it has given them another option. Well, this isn't a surprise. Aaron Robin going off. I think he's done well to keep going as long as he has, because from that tackle from Wes Brown, which really was a cruncher, he's never really been right, but he's tried to soldier on, and eventually it's given up on him. And Ashley Cole will come in. Just remember, Ashley Cole started as a left winger, so let's see how he does out here.
Well, he is struggling with this ankle problem, Cole. That's not to say that Bridge wouldn't have started anyway. And that's good to see. Mourinho with a consoling arm around his shoulder. He showed the kind of spirit the manager demands of his players in keeping going. Hensey, Kalu's foot was in his face there. Nothing sinister about it, though. I don't think he saw him. Carrick. Essien out jumping Wayne Rooney. Then Giggs guilty of over-elaborating.
Carrick's really struggling in the middle of the field now as well. You know, he's stretching every opportunity. He played that long ball out to the left-hand side there, and he nearly seized up after it kicked it, because he's just tightening up everywhere at the moment.
Smith will be fresher than most. Rooney still looking bright. Here's Brown. Plenty up for United, plenty back though for Chelsea, including Lampard, who claims the throw. Not according to Peter Kirkup, the assistant down below us here. Ronaldo with Brown stepping away from Bridge. Now it's Carrick. Scholes to take it on. And he's got Gabriel Hensey free. Carrick. He has come up with some stunning strikes this season, but clearly is in some trouble. He can hardly run, can hardly move, let alone run. In these stamina-sapping conditions of a cup final. Rooney, onside! Check, it's there. There was a collision, but no complaint from Peter Cech.
But this is what we talked about, Peter Cech. Essien's beaten here, Rooney's in. It's not a good first touch. A better first touch, Cech would have been in trouble. But it still took bravery from Cech to go in there and win that ball. But Rooney there would be so disappointed with his first touch, because a good first touch, and it was a golden opportunity for him. So Scholes' ball yet again. Misses out Essien. Now a good first touch. No, it's bounced off his left knee. Gives Cech the opportunity, and he makes the save.
We've got Wes Brown with an injury as well as Carrick. Looks like crap in both cases. John O'Shea and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So often a super sub, Solskjaer, and of course a legend in the eyes of Manchester United fans after the European Champions League final of '99, the treble year, when he claimed the winner as Ferguson's team turned it all around right at the death. John O'Shea has played a big part this season in a variety of roles too. Brown wants to come back on. He's not so sure. Carrick is still limping. That was Vidic. Lampard, no, whistle's gone. United's free kick. Real edge of the seat stuff now. They slugged it out, and we still don't have a winner. So here comes John O'Shea. And the veteran Norwegian Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Is it Giggs who's going to go off?
Well, it looks like Giggs is going off at the moment, yeah, which
he's handing the armband to
it's surprising, because you know you'd expect that Giggs would be one who would be taking penalties if it actually came to that. So it's a little surprising that he is going off, but obviously that man there has been through so much. Sir Alex Ferguson, he knows what he's doing.
Well, Sir Alex won't welcome penalties. Not with my record, he says. Loses to Arsenal in 2005 in the final. And he's come off second best in 3 other shootouts as well. Though they have beaten Chelsea in the Community Shield. Not quite the same thing.
Well, you look at that, and they're taking Carrick and Giggs off. I mean, Carrick had to come off because he really has been struggling for the last 5 or 10 minutes. But, you know, he also, you would have thought, would have been one of the penalty takers. So they've probably lost 2 of their first choice penalty takers if it goes to that.
That's Ferdinand's lock ball. Rooney. Nothing on though for Smith. Well, there might be, no. But Chelsea riding their luck a little that time. And here's Kalou now, threatening at the other end. Hasn't got any support, might not need it! Just a rock side of the post from Salomon Kalou. What a chance, what a chance.
It certainly was. He's running Ferdinand. And to be fair, Heinze does well coming in from that left-hand side and cutting his angle down. And he just can't get it on target, but a golden opportunity for him, it really was. Just bent it just that little bit too far wide.
Here's Wes Brown. Chelsea, of course, beaten by Liverpool on penalties in the Champions League semi-final recently. Quite easily, 2-4-1, I think it was in the end. Pepe Reina outstanding in goal for Liverpool. That's the chap next to me used to be. Here's Mikel. Makelele. On you go, says Steve Bennett. Didn't want the headlines to be about him. There's still time. Mikel. Well, some tired legs out there. And some tempers beginning to flare a little.
Yeah, tired legs, tired minds, and that's where they're up there. There's mistake after mistake happening now. And, you know, Alan Smith needs to be careful. He doesn't need to be getting involved in tackles like that. To be fair to him, he's made contact with the ball at the same time as the player. But he's already been booked, and he just needs to calm down. Because that's also Alex wants now, is yet another one of his strikers, stroke penalty takers, to have to be sent off now in these last few minutes.
They can be touchy, impetuous Alan Smith. Kalou. Then Mikel. Drogba. Drogba! Yes! Goal for Chelsea! Didier Drogba! 5 minutes from time. His first goal against Manchester United. Is it going to be the winner? It's a priceless strike from the man who has been so outstanding all season with his finishing. And he's done it again.
Well, it was a lovely 1-2 there. Knocked back into his face there. And it really was a delightful touch. Van der Sar couldn't possibly get to it. It was a lovely touch over the top. Ferdinand couldn't get back either. And it's a fabulous finish. It really is a fabulous finish. How many times this year have we seen Chelsea win in the dying minutes of either 90 minutes or extra time?
This one in the 116th minute. Didier Drogba milking the applause of the Chelsea fans, as he's been able to do throughout the past few months. Goal number 33 for him this season. The first Chelsea player since Kerry Dixon back in the mid-80s to hit 30. Well, he's got beyond that now.
And Rio Ferdinand is limping off onto the beyond the touchline on our side now, so he's obviously got a problem as well. Although he's now let him come back on, but it's a terrible blow for United. To be fair, in extra time, they've looked the side that could probably win it, but Chelsea, as per usual, they just keep battling away and believing in the way that they're playing. And one wonderful 1-2 allows Drogba the opportunity, and he delivers.
Can United respond? They've got 3 minutes plus stoppage time. Ashley Cole Stopped in his tracks. Stunned silence away to my right among the United fans. But away to my left, sheer jubilation now for the fans at Chelsea. Lampard linking with Drogba, and he's deadly, absolutely deadly. The African Player of the Year, Didier Drogba. Out comes Van der Sar, but Kalou has latched onto it. It's going to be a free kick to Chelsea for the foul by Scholes. Lampard, John Obi Mikel. Such an understanding between the two.
Well, it's one of the few times in the games that Lampard's got close to Drogba to work with him, and obviously on that occasion he did. Delightful ball, back to Drogba, and we saw the finish. But Lampard has not had the opportunity to get forward as much as he'd like to throughout this game.
Here's Kalou. Outmanoeuvred by Paul Scholes. The double dream is fading for Manchester United. Van der Sar getting all tangled up here with Salomon Kalou. Booking for him. He won't give a jot as long as Chelsea now go on to win this final, as they look like doing. Time and time again under Mourinho, they have kept battling away and so often have got their reward.
Well, it's been a typical Chelsea performance. You know, it's been one of those performances where they just battle it out. They're not spectacular by any stretch of the imagination, but they're just effective and they just grind side downs, and then they have such great belief in themselves that they know that at some stage an opportunity will come for them. As long as they keep that clean sheet and restrict the opposition to chances, they will get a chance somewhere, and that's exactly what has happened again today.
The Chelsea icon has come up trumps again. 3 extra minutes. Where from, he's saying. He couldn't be happier if he found his missing dog at the moment. Here's Ronaldo. Burst of pace by him. And rather crudely pulled back though by Ferreira. Another caution as he limps back to join his fellow defenders. I think Van der Sar's going up. If not, he wants to take the free kick, one or the other. Here comes Scholes now. Should be Peter Cech. Surely he was balked then. He was. By Vidic. 1 extra minute played. More heroics from Cech today. Mourinho in his first FA Cup final. It's the 8th one for Sir Alex. It looks now as if it's not going to go his way. His facial expression giving little away. Mourinho can barely contain his excitement. Ashley Cole to Drogba, Chelsea's hero. Grappling with Wes Brown. Leave it to me, says Van der Sar. Well, that was foolish of Ashley Cole, just kicked it away. Hensey. Ferdinand's gone up there. Essien. Happy just to clear anywhere at the moment. This is Brown. Then to Scholes. Don't think he's seen Lampard. Brown again. Scholes. Still time, but there's not much left now. Ferdinand. Oh, Solskjaer. So nearly on the end of it. Chelsea hearts in their mouths. Edwin van der Sar. Back up United again. Chelsea hanging on. Brown. And then finally Kalou can play it away to Lampard. Drogba has checked out to the left. This is Kalou. Still bright, still fresh, still full of running. And he might have put the final nail there in United's coffin.
Well, he might well have done, but Mourinho will be quite happy that's gone behind the goal there. And I think that's going to be it.
It is it. And it's Chelsea in blue heaven. As Mourinho's masters deny Manchester United the double, Didier Drogba with the winning goal in the 116th minute. They have done it again. You just cannot write this team off. The last winners of the FA Cup at the old Wembley are now 7 years on. The first winners at the new one, to the absolute delight of Roman Abramovich, their illustrious owner. They left it late, but it doesn't matter now. Chelsea 1, Manchester United 0 at the end of extra time.
And I suppose Chelsea would say there's a beautiful symmetry in it, having seen off Villa on the last FA Cup final occasion at the old Wembley.